the word I love to use, or it's 2 words, is spiritual blueprint. And I remember when we first started being artists, I don't know that I had my authentic voice yet, and that's normal. We're all just growing, finding our voice. But I remember it wasn't until I had just finding my spirituality gave me strength to be powerful, to not worry about what anybody thinks. Like, this is my song idea, this is my voice, this is how I dance, this is how I move. And I realized, wow, we're all spiritual beings, and we all have a unique spiritual blueprint. And that's why it's hard sometimes where, people try to put us in their business model or their blueprint. And I just I can't believe I used to believe that, I got to just find the blueprint that I fit in. And as artists, as a duo, as FAARROW, with all the labels and layers, just being Somali women, Black, African, former refugees, Muslim, there was no box that any label, agency, or anybody can put us in that felt comfortable or that we were allowing. So I loved learning on my awakening. I started to see everybody in such a beautiful way too, because I was just like, everybody that was like struggling or maybe facing the same struggles as us as artists, trying to find our voice, trying to find where we fit. I started to see the greatness in everybody else. Like, oh my gosh, you have your own unique spiritual blueprint too. Sometimes we're just trying to fit ourselves in other people's boxes and worlds, and it doesn't feel good. The minute we walked away from things that didn't serve us, it was just like, I just had more space and energy.
Feel lighter.
And then it's like I have the energy and space to create better music, to even POWHER, this podcast that we're doing. We started this last year, and it was really for our own mental health, for our own healing, that my sister and I started having conversations about everything we've been through, like music, relationships. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. And this is the first time we're doing a live podcast with guests. All of this hasn't even been a full year. It'll be a full year in June that we have been doing POWHER. So yeah.
Shout out to us.
Yeah.
For me, I don't consider myself religious, or I don't really have a religion, but I consider myself a very spiritual person. And I think that I'm connected to my ancestors and to the people that came before me through art and through music and through these things that we can cultivate. And so that's me personally, whenever I make music, it's my way of being spiritual. It's my way of worshiping and my way of so it's a very spiritual thing. And it's that's, I think, why I make the type of music that I make. And it's a very, I wouldn't say heavy, but it's very content driven I think because of that.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's really easy to not put themselves as much in their music. And I mean, that's something that I kind of fight with, to be honest, because my music is so much connected to my spirituality. It's hard for me to not just put all of myself in every bit of music that I make. But yeah, I think that there's a really big correlation there, especially coming from my background where, my family's Christian and super, my dad, not religious at all. Never find him in a church. My mom, find her in a church 3 to 5 days a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's always listening to music, and always, for her, the music is the really big factor. And I think you can go to any type of, place of worship, and for me, it's always the music that, it doesn't matter, if I subscribe to the religion, I can go in and listen to the music and just make a spiritual connection, immediately. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think that there's it's interwoven for me.
The connection between spirituality and music, it just didn't even occur to me because, growing up, I'm still Muslim, obviously, but growing up Muslim, a lot of the narrative is, music is a sin, and I just always felt so guilty about it. Even in, while I'm creating music and while I'm I'm going to do music, I still, felt that push and pull, that guilt, within myself. Am I doing the right thing? Even, Islam, I felt like I had to relearn it for myself and really find the spirituality in it. Once I made that correlation, it was I guess it just kind of became easier. I started connecting the music and spirituality and how I was feeling, and really freed myself up creatively because, when you feel guilty and shameful about something that you're doing, you're automatically closing off that creativity, closing off the connection that you have with God, because that's, where you're getting all of that from.
Yeah.
So, and that's not just with music, that's with anything you're doing. If you're at a job you don't like and you're constantly like feeling that and bringing momentum with that feeling, you're not gonna enjoy what you're doing. You're not gonna find solutions for your job. You're not gonna find the creativity and the joy in your job,
Yeah.
Yo, if I can add on to that, that's so real, because I do so many different things. I like to make things. I like to do all kind of random stuff, and people are always asking me like, how is it that you're doing all these like random stuff? Like, how did you get into sewing? You make music, and I'm like, I'm just a vessel. And like I feel like the more connected I am to my creator, the more I have these ideas, and the more I like want to do more different things and all these things. So like, 100%.
Yeah, and I know there's all kinds of people. There's people that don't believe in a higher power. I feel like whatever you call it, God, Allah, the universe, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's a great topic, right? Spirituality and religion. And when we started POWHER, there was so many people that messaged us, and I love that everybody had such different religious backgrounds. There was Christian people, Catholic people, Jewish, a couple of Hindu girls reached out to us. It was just like we all had different cultural backgrounds, but everybody was struggling with, oh my God, like everything you guys are talking about feels so natural and normal, but I don't know why I feel like it's against my religion. And just even talking to a lot of I'm Muslim, and talking to a lot of my Muslim friends, even just moving back to Toronto, just hanging out with my mom. She saw me and she noticed I was meditating a lot when I kind of moved back to Toronto. And she was just like, what are you doing? Like, she'd just see me in the corner of the room, just closing my eyes, finding my center. And she'd be like, well, what are you doing? And, she just thought it was weird, but she's heard the word meditation. And, my mom prays 5 times a day. And I had to explain to her and remind her, I'm like, it's so interesting that we think it's this weird, like, blasphemous, weird thing when it's actually the most important thing. Like Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was meditating when he had the Quran revealed to him in a cave. Like, how magical. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's so much poetic things in the Quran, but it's just, I find a lot of times a lot of things are, like, cultural and really are not the word. So just spirituality is the most important thing. Like, I feel like the religion is like a guideline, because we're all born into religions, right? A lot of us make the choices later on, but a lot of us, I believe I was born Muslim for a reason, and I think I'm living it right now. But yeah, that was just one interesting thing for me. Like, it's like spirituality is all of us. Like, nobody's more spiritual than anybody, And that's what I love. I was just like, I'm not more, I'm not less, and that's what spirituality teaches you.
Yeah, I agree. I think the religion aspect is kind of the thing that creates these bubbles,
Yeah.
And the spiritual aspect of it is kind of what connects all of us together. So you were mentioning how people kind of, regardless of which background they come through, can find something that they relate to in your podcast a lot of the time. And I feel like that's kind of the result of the interconnectedness of all these different religions, Okay, these are all kind of based on similar principles and similar kind of divine laws and whatnot.